Welcome back, Endgame community. It's Chris, and it's time to panic. Let's get to this week's Panic Players. All right, let's start with a name I did not think would be on this list in 2021, and that is Christian McCaffrey. Now, I'm not panicking about Christian McCaffrey's performance, because when he's been on the field, he's been amazing. What I am panicking about are these injuries that seem to keep piling up, right? He had this hamstring injury in week 3, was told it was less than a grade 1. Maybe he's out a week, maybe he's out 2 weeks, misses a week, misses the second week, looks like he'll be back the third week, and then bam, he's on IR. So another 3 weeks without Christian McCaffrey. The reason I'm panicking on Christian McCaffrey right now is I'm really starting to wonder if all these touches are adding up and his body is starting to break down. I also really worry that if he does come back at some point during the season, which I think he will, is he going to be the guy getting 90% snap share and all the touches, or are the Panthers finally going to realize they may need to manage his usage so that he can stay healthy? So definitely panicked about Christian McCaffrey. I would absolutely be trying to trade him as high as I could right now. Don't take a low ball offer. Make sure you get studs for him. But I would be trying to move on from Christian McCaffrey if I could right now. All right, let's move on to another high-profile player, and that is Terry McLaurin of my football team. In a smash spot, a slate-breaking type of spot, he has 8 targets, 4 catches, 28 yards. Not what we were looking for in this matchup. Thought for sure he'd be one of the highest scoring players in week 6. Look, I talked about it a couple weeks ago or a few weeks ago when he was on this video. He's going to be very volatile this year. Tyler Heinicke has some good traits, but he's not a great real-life NFL quarterback. There's going to be a lot of volatility here week to week for Terry McLaurin. So kind of panicking about him, but you got to just take the good with the bad when it comes to Terry McLaurin, because the good is really, really good, right? So as always, if you can trade him for somebody better, do it. Otherwise, don't panic. Don't do something crazy. You're just going to have to ride out these waves and hope that there's more good weeks than bad ones. All right, guys, real quick, if you're enjoying the video, all I ask is you take a quick second, hit that thumbs up button. Really appreciate it. All right, let's move on to another big-time name, and that's Antonio Gibson, also of my football team. 10 carries for 44 yards, 2 catches for 0 yards, a fumble. But that's not what's really causing me to panic, because he's been good the last 3 weeks. What's really causing me to panic is this shin injury. He came out of the game, came back in, and then left the game, and I don't think he came back in after that. And this is something that is going to bother him all year, and it's not going to get better by playing on it, right? It's something that he's either going to need to rest, or it's going to get to a point where it's a serious injury. So I am certainly panicking about Antonio Gibson with this shin injury, because again, it's not something that can get better while you play football games. So I think if you can, he's a great sell high candidate. I know he's coming off a poor game, but if you look at the last 3 games, people can talk themselves into Antonio Gibson. So I would absolutely be trying to trade him if I could. All right, we got a lot of big names this week, but let's keep it going with Keenan Allen. Only 5 targets. The Chargers offense, the whole Chargers team was horrible in week 6. Look, Keenan Allen has been good, but he hasn't been great, right? Not what we expected where we drafted Keenan Allen. I'm not panicking on Keenan Allen yet, though. He's had 8 or more targets in every game prior to week 6, and he's had 10 or more targets in 3 of those games. Look, week 6 was a complete bust for the Chargers. Herbert was bad. Keenan was bad. Mike Williams was bad. Austin Eckler was bad. And Jared Cook got a touchdown, so I guess if you started him, you're feeling okay. But everybody was pretty much bad on the Chargers. So I'm not panicking on Keenan Allen right now. Don't do something crazy. As always, if you get a great offer, especially heading into the bye, if you need to win, take it. But don't do anything crazy and sell Keenan Allen on the cheap. I think better days are ahead. You guys, I just want to take a quick second. First of all, to thank our patrons. I can't believe how much support we've been getting. We appreciate all of you. And if you want to become a Patreon and help support us and be a part of our live show every Sunday morning, which is incredible and getting huge and has tons of great discussion, it's awesome. Our private show, check down below for the link to that. It is cheaper than a cup of coffee for the entire month. It's very inexpensive, worth every penny, worth 10 times what we're charging for that. So if you want to support the channel, help us out, and get some cool perks for yourself, check out the Patreon link down in the description. All right, another big name here. I got a lot of them this week. I told you it's Robert Woods of the Rams. 5 targets this week to Cooper Kupp's 12. He did catch a touchdown to kind of save his day, but still, Cooper Kupp by far Matt Stafford's favorite target. You got to ignore what happened last week in week 5 against Seattle. That was just one of those weeks. I had him on the trade video last week. I said, sell him while you can. Hopefully you did. Panic level very high for Robert Woods here because this is now 5 out of 6 games where we've seen where Cooper Kupp is by far the team's number 1 wide receiver. Now, I know Woods hasn't been terrible. He's got 2 12-point games, a 14-point game, and he gave you an 11-point game this week. So it's not like he's killing your fantasy team, but he's not what you were expecting when we drafted him, right? This is not what we were expecting from Robert Woods. So absolutely, I would still be trying to trade Robert Woods if I could. Now, I know his value took a hit this week, but he still has a lot of name value, and this offense is rolling. So maybe you can still get something good for him, but panic level very high for Robert Woods right now. All right, another name, maybe not quite as big as the other guys, but still a big name, and that's T. Higgins. Only had 6 targets in week 6. The good news is that led the team. The bad news is three players had 6 targets, and that's the problem here for T. Higgins, right? Is Joe Burrow is spreading the ball around. Jamar Chase is the big play guy, so he doesn't need a lot of targets, right? We see it every week. It seems like he has one big play, and it saves his day. But T. Higgins isn't that guy this year. He's not the big play threat. And when he's only getting, 5, 6, 7 targets a week, it's very hard to have monster fantasy weeks. And Joe Burrow, like I said, A, they're not throwing a lot, and B, he's spreading the ball around. So, T. Higgins is, a nice, solid, low-end wide receiver 2, maybe a high-end wide receiver 3. So not a guy you should be completely panicking about because he's still a solid fantasy contributor, but just not going to be what we thought he was going to be. So as always, like I say, if you get something really good for T. Higgins, take it. Don't feel like you have to hold on to him, but also don't panic and do something crazy, mildly panicking over T. Higgins. All right, guys, one last thing before we get to our last 3 players. If you don't want to support us on Patreon, which is cool if you don't, no big deal, we do also have a free Discord channel, which you can find in the description below. It's also a great place to be. Tons of discussion all week long. You want to get in there, and again, it's free, so no excuses. Check it out down below. All right, we got 3 more players, and let's start with a pretty obvious one, and that is Myles Sanders. There's nothing you can do if you have Myles Sanders. And look, it's no fault of Myles Sanders. This Eagles play calling is just very pass heavy. They don't run the ball. And when they do throw it to Myles Sanders, it's like 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage where he has almost no chance to do anything. I don't really know what to do with Myles Sanders, to be honest with you. I want to say you can drop Myles Sanders, but I feel like that might be a little too much. But the panic level for Myles Sanders is sky high through the roof right now because the Eagles just don't run the football. So you either got to keep him on your bench. If you're in like a 10 or an 8-man league, I think he's probably okay to drop. Nobody's going to run out and grab Myles Sanders. Maybe in like a 12, 14 team league, you want to hold on to him and see what happens. But definitely panic level extremely high for Myles Sanders. Let's talk about another Myles Gaskin. Another running back who had a monster week last week and then did nothing in week 6 against the mighty Jacksonville Jaguars. They're now 1-5. Jacksonville Jaguars. Ooh, that's crazy. This is a guy, I think he's going to be very good in games where the Dolphins are behind and having to throw the ball a lot and play very fast, which is what happened in week 5 against the Bucs. And he had 10 catches or whatever it was. But this week against the Jags, a more competitive game, we saw Salvon Ahmed getting carries. We saw Malcolm Brown getting carries. And that's the problem here. When the Dolphins are in competitive games, this is going to be a 3-headed committee. So Gaskin will be a fine PPR play in games where the Dolphins are expected to be blown out, like maybe when they play the Bills again or when they play the Chiefs, something like that. But in games that are going to be competitive or close, it's just going to be hard to trust Myles Gaskin. So again, I think if you're in a 10 or 18 league, you could probably drop Myles Gaskin. It's okay. If you're in a 12 or more league, you probably just got to hold on to him, wait for those good matchups to roll him out. So, but panic level also very high here for Myles Gaskin. And then finally, let's end with one more Eagle, rookie Devonta Smith. Again, through no fault of his own, he's had some nice games, but we just haven't seen that like massive ceiling that we're expecting from a team's wide receiver 1. And again, it's because of this passing game, right? For as much as I love Jalen Hurts, he's not an accurate deep thrower. And they're asking him to throw a lot of deep passes. And when they throw short passes, it's mostly to the tight ends and to the running backs. So Devonta Smith is kind of stuck in this no man's land where, Hurts is not a great deep ball passer, but he's not getting short intermediate targets that often. Now, I do think there's going to be good stretches for Devonta Smith, and there's going to be really bad stretches for Devonta Smith, which is true for just about every rookie. But especially in this offense, with the play calling, with Jalen Hurts, you're just going to have to take your lumps with Devonta Smith. Now, of course, like I say, if you could trade him for something good, you do it. Or if you can include him in a trade for something good, you do it. Panic level, kind of high here. But again, he's a rookie. I don't think we were expecting Justin Jefferson 2.0, at least. I hope you weren't expecting Justin Jefferson 2.0. But I think he'll have good days. He'll have bad days. You're just going to have to roll with them, kind of like Terry McLaurin. So panic level, a little high here. All right, guys, that does it for my Week 6 panic players. I want to hear from you now. Who are some players on your fantasy team that you're panicking about? Drop a comment down below. And don't forget, hit that thumbs up button. And if you want to support us, we would greatly appreciate it. Our Patreon is growing like crazy. We have an awesome live show every week, plus other perks for you. Check out the description down below. And of course, don't miss the free Discord server. You'll want to get in there and chat it up with us all week long. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.